Hello, Metagross Freak here, taking a look at Transformers Titans Return. Uh, Autobot Stylor and Chromedome. Chromedome is actually really interesting because uh, he was one of the original Gen 1 characters to be a headmaster. So the fact that we get a Titan Master of him is a nice update to his character. And Stylor was the name of his headmaster then too. This character has some interesting similarities with Blur. His pistol, his thigh pieces, and even the mold used for Stylor's robot mode, not the face, but the robot body, are actually just repaints of Blur slash RC. And then Chromedome was used for a character whose name Nightbeat, sorry. He was repainted into Nightbeat. So Chromedome transforms into kind of a futuristic looking sports car. The shape reminds me a little bit of Bumblebee, and I'm actually kind of, or at least the some of the more modern versions of Bumblebee, like from the movies and from the Prime slash aligned continuity. I'm actually a little surprised that this didn't get a yellow repaint. Chromedome has kind of a really interesting color scheme, and that's kind of what drew me to him. He has brown and tan, which are very rare, even nowadays, even for kind of more modern military-esque franchises. You know, you don't see a lot of brown, don't see a lot of tan because, and I actually did a video on this, they don't sell very well. But he has as well some red accents, he has silver, he has a little bit of light blue on his eyes, and like, I'm assuming those are his headlights. And then he just has kind of a light gray for the head. And so the color scheme I thought was interesting. You don't see red and brown very often. Brown and tan don't get used often either, so I thought I'd pick it up and see what I thought. So here we have his bio on the back. And let me see if I can get this a little bit closer so you can read it. It says, in multiple languages, it says, the Autobots unite with Titan Master partners to power up for battle. Autobot Styler gives Chromedome the power of memnosurgery, which is the ability to access and edit another bot's memories. So that's actually kind of cool. I don't really know much about the character of Chromedome. I mean, obviously I can look on the wiki, but it's kind of cool that just he has the power to rewrite memories. Here's Chromedome out of the package, and you know, the guns are weird. Honestly, I like this gun. This gun is supposed to be held sideways, but it looks weird because it's obviously, you know, a power sled. It also has a weird combined mode in vehicle mode where you're supposed to attach the power sled going sideways like so, and then you have the other gun plugged in up top so that when you have a Titan Master sitting in there, they have a little turret while sitting inside a gun. Let me show you. So obviously here we have Chromedome, not Chromedome, Stylor, who turns into Chromedome's head, and similar to Hot Rod, we have the character sitting inside a weapon that's the same color as them issue. So yeah, here we go. We have Stylor sitting right here, and then inside a red sled. You can barely see him, he's just got a little brown torso to separate in, you know, the gray and orange backpack, but there you go. You put the gun in, and now he has a little turret while sitting inside a gun, and that is how it's supposed to combine in vehicle mode if you don't want him sitting in the cockpit or the driver's seat. Or you can just have them attaching to the side. I think that looks a little silly. Personally, I think since we do have a 5mm peg up here, that it makes more sense to have the to have this gun be held by that peg. It does make the gun look a little flat, but I think that looks a lot better than how it was initially posed, going sideways. I mean, obviously, yeah, it is a little flat, but not too bad. And you can always attach the two together to have kind of a energy rifle thing if you want. Obviously, it's your toy. You can decide to do with it what you want. If you want, you can even just choose not to include it on your version. Posability is fairly interesting for Chromedome because, as you may have been noticing, I've been having a little bit of trouble with the fists. He has what I guess you could compare to soft ratchets as his wrist articulation, and that's interesting. Articulation-wise, it's articulation-wise it's average, but I think the weapons are kind of weird, and the little ratchets on the wrists are uncommon, though kind of a little welcome. And of course, let's get in on that noggin, since Chromedome's name brings attention to his head. I like the head. It's a really nice head, and it's very unique among Transformers. You see this head, you know who it is. And for comparison, here he is next to another deluxe class I just recently covered, Power of the Prime's Jazz, with the Prime armor being worn as a gauntlet, just because I think it looks cool. You can see they scale well together. We'll get to see how well he scales in vehicle mode with other car robots. And then, just for fun, here he is with Dinobot Slash, who I recently reviewed in my previous video. Interesting thing worth noting is that, similar to the Alpine Drift figure I reviewed a while back, he has, they're not black wheels, they're a translucent, like smoky gray, smoky brown, so that's kind of cool. You don't see that very often. Anyway, enough about the robot, let's get into vehicle mode. Here is Chromedome in car mode, or vehicle mode I guess to be more accurate, and he is the only Titan's Return character I own currently that requires you to actually bend the knees of the character to sit them in the cockpit, or the area. Anyway, you can, just using these little panels, bring them over here and connect them over. I'm having a little bit of trouble here, but I am trying to do this live. And as you can see, I'm having a little bit of trouble bringing them down to cover the cockpit area, but I'll figure it out. There we go. Got this closed up, covered. I did have a little bit of trouble putting the left part of the hood into the tab, but it's kind of a tight tab anyway. But yeah, there we go. There we go. Windshield covered, and you just have to kind of untab this to bring it up to take little Stylor or any other Titan Master that you want. Put them in and out, and those can tab in. There aren't any Titan Master ports, which is interesting, but there are little slots, so I guess if you really wanted to, you could plug in the gun on top, like that. Or, of course, they display it being plugged in, the weapons being plugged on the side. But yeah, if you want, you can have a Titan Master sitting, I guess what you could call, in turret mode on top of the car, which would be kind of cool. Or not, it's up to you. Which is an interesting thing to note is that there are no Titan Master ports to have them sit on. I'm having issues with this panel popping up, mostly because it's supposed to peg into the little slots there and up there, but I'm having trouble getting it to stay connected. I can push one in, but not the other, so I may attempt to... there we go, that required a fair amount of effort to pop it in, but there we go. It rolls, as rolling things should, very smoothly, and I guess as a car mode, it is very nice, though a very unorthodox color scheme. Though I do like the color scheme. The brown transitioning into the tan does look rather nice. I do like the red accents, though I just wish that the red on the hood matched the rest of the red. As you can tell, it's that smoky black that's been painted red, so it looks a little different. But that can be assisted a little bit by just putting the gun, or at least this gun, on top. That helps hide it a little bit better. And if you want, you can put either the blur gun on up here or on one of the sides. So, I mean, it can aesthetically look good if you want it to. Yeah, overall, I'd say pretty good. It's kind of got a nice little sports car look, and the back here kind of reminds me a little bit of a DeLorean. Overall, not bad. For comparison, here he is with the Last Night Crosshairs and Titan's Return Hot Rod. Obviously, he scales well with Hot Rod, considering they're the same line and they're both cars. He's a little bit bigger, a little wider, that is, because of his robot kibble. I don't know, it's weird. And obviously he scales well with Crosshairs because they're both deluxe class cars. Don't know what else to say. Chromedome. Taking a final look at Chromedome, I think he's a decent mold. I think he uses the color scheme well. I just kind of wish that some of the tabs didn't require as much effort to get in, because I had a couple different places that I had a little bit of trouble transforming and that needed a little more effort than I was comfortable putting in. I don't see any stress marks on those areas, but I'd be worried that over time, with someone a little less careful, that they might break or bend. And last but not least, I wanted to show kind of an interesting alternate mode again with the weapons. Previously, we were plugging in the blur pistol, that post, into this hole on the kind of weird sled weapon to get kind of a turret sled. And of course, I mentioned it can be always held in the handle as kind of a weird double barrel rifle thing. But if you want, you can also, I figured out, since this also has a 5mm peg, you can always plug that into the post to get a kind of a pseudo double barrel shotgun laser kind of thing, or at least just a rifle with some extra piping, because that kind of looks unique enough to be a robot warrior weapon. I don't know, it's up to you. Let me know in the comments below what you thought of this particular figure, or what kind of orientation you would use for this figure's weapons. And once again, this has been Metagross saying thanks for watching, and I hope to see you all in the next video. Peace.